Gautamanji Maharaj, dear brother monks and brahmacharis, Mataji of the Sharda Math, Justice Ram Subramanian and Sri Manoharan, who are gracing the dais, and devotees of the Lord. Really, I am very happy and feel lucky to participate in this grand celebration of the 175th birth anniversary of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. It is being celebrated all over the country, all over the world, and naturally the devotees of Sri Ramakrishna are having a feast of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna's life and teachings. All of us are familiar with that wonderful book, The Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Practically, throughout the work, wherever Sri Ramakrishna has spoken, there is always a special stress upon spiritual sadhana. So, if you are able to collect all these teachings from the various pages of this wonderful book, putting them in one side in a particular order, you can easily get a philosophy of sadhana according to Sri Ramakrishna. Once a devotee came to him, especially when he was declaring that the aim of human life is Ishwar Labh, realizing God. That devotee asked him, "Sir, you say that there is a God, but how is it you are not able to see him?" Then Sri Ramakrishna asked him, "What is the time now?" "Morning, 11 o'clock. "Look at the sky." He did. Then he asked him, "Are you able to see the stars in the sky now?" "No." "So, can you say that there are no stars at all in the sky?" "The stars are there, but they cannot be seen now because of the brilliant sunlight." Then Sri Ramakrishna told him, "Because you are not able to see God during the days of your ignorance," note the word, during the days of your ignorance, you cannot dare to say that there is no God. Another day, Sri Ramakrishna was going to take bath in the Ganga river. He had his gamcha, a long towel, bath towel, and with him there was one devotee. The devotee went on asking a number of questions, and one of them was, "Well, Thakur, you say that the Lord is in your own heart as the Antaryamin. He is in our heart, in the heart of everybody. But how is it we are not able to see him or feel his presence in us?" Immediately, Sri Ramakrishna stood there, took out his towel, spread it in front of his face, and told him, "You know, I am standing very near to you. You can just stretch your hand and touch me, but you cannot see my face." Why? Because this towel is hiding my face. Similarly, as long as Maya Javanika, the screen of Maya, is overcoming your intellect, covering your intellect, buddhi, you cannot feel the presence of the Lord within you. So once the Maya goes, you are able to see the Lord. So we have to accept what Sri Ramakrishna has said out of his realization that God does exist. We are not able to see him due to our own weakness. It is not the fault of God. Incidentally, I would like to remind all of us that human life is too short to be wasted. When you go in the market street, you find the names of so many banks, Canara Bank, Syndicate Bank, Punjab National Bank, and so on. When we open the newspapers, there we come across other types of banks, blood bank and kidney bank and so on. But I was sometimes wondering, suppose there is a time bank, how wonderful it will be. Today, out of 24 hours, I don't need 6 hours, put it in the time bank. Tomorrow, when I need 36 hours per day, withdraw it from the bank. That is not possible. Time, once it is gone forever, never to return again. So, Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna says, when you are able to understand, try to do your best to realize God. This is exactly what Prahlada told his friends. As soon as you are able to think, the best thing that you can do is to think of the Lord. So, by thinking of the Lord, remembering him constantly and continuously, we will be able to realize him in course of time. We will come to that point later. The next question that has to be answered or settled is about the nature of God himself. Some people say God is with form, saguna sakara. Others say he is nirguna nirakara. Which is more correct? Sri Ramakrishna, in his own inimitable way, says both are correct. God is nirakara nirguna, sakara saguna. Not only that, he is beyond these two and only he knows what he is. In one place he gives a nice example. There is a huge mountain of sugar candy. So many ants are going and bringing small little pieces of sugar candy. And Shuka Maharshi, the great Paramahamsa, he has also gone as an ant, but he is able to bring a little bigger piece of sugar candy, that's all. They are not able to exhaust the hill of sugar candy or the mountain of sugar candy. So God is like that. God alone knows what he is. But then he also says there is a saving factor for us. What is that? Suppose you are thirsty. You go to a big tank or a lake containing sweet water, drinking water. You take 2 or 3 or 4 glasses of drinking water, your thirst is slaked. There is no need for you to know how much water is there in that lake. So similarly, instead of wasting our time about God, let us try to touch his feet in the bhakti sense or realize him in our heart from the standpoint of jnana, then our life will be blessed. So, God exists. That has been proved by the great saints who have realized him. The great Shastras also say the same thing. The only thing that we have to do is have faith in the Shastras, have faith in these rishis, the great sages and saints, and proceed on the way. The next question which has to be answered is, all right, We accept that there is a God. And we are expected to do sadhana to realize Him. Suppose we do it and realize Him. What benefit are we going to get? This is the modern mind. What am I going to get? Well, Bhagavan Shankaracharya has answered this question. He says, Atyantika dukkha nivrittihi parama sukha praptischa. This is the result of God realization, Atma Jnana or Brahma Jnana. That is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna is telling. You will get infinite joy, infinite bliss. Of course, for that, you have to prepare the ground. He himself gives one example. Suppose there is a small pool and an elephant enters into it. The whole water is thrown out. It becomes muddy. Suppose the elephant enters into the sea or the ocean, nobody notices it. So like that, you have to make your mind and heart broad and deep. Then you will be able to withstand the shocks of spiritual experience. That means sadhana has to be done. About the need for sadhana also, he gives another example. In Bengal, there is a particular herbal root. They call it a siddhi. Now, you have to get that siddhi, herbal root, put it in hot water in the night. In the early morning, it will become soft. Then you have to crush it, extract the liquid out of that, and then drink it. Then you will have psychedelic experience. Suppose, instead of doing all that, you go on repeating the word siddhi, 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 and I want siddhi. You cannot get it. In another place he says, there is butter in milk. That is all right. But you have to heat the milk, convert it into curds, and then you have to extract butter from that. Instead of that, if you say milk contains butter, that is not going to help you. So ultimately, our whole life should be sadhana oriented. We may listen to hundreds of talks, read hundreds of books, increase our intellectual knowledge, but we are not going to realize it unless we do the sadhana. In Kankhal, we have got a very nice hospital. It was specially meant for the sannyasins living in that area. One of the Swamijis who lived there once told me what actually happened in that hospital. One young sadhu used to come almost every day on walk, spend some time with the Swamijis who were running that hospital. Every now and then he would say, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. One day he developed some injury in his hand. Then the doctors, it was shown to the doctors, they advised him, you have to undergo a minor operation. He said, Aham Brahmasmi, all right. Then he was brought, prepared for the operation. When he was just lying on the bed in the surgical ward, when he saw the operating surgeon bringing out the knives, he immediately jumped out of the bed and ran away. It actually happened. Then, because the injury was pretty bad, our Swamijis went and brought him back and assured him, you will not be hurt in the least, you will be given anesthesia, and so on. Finally, the operation was done and he was cured. Then, the Swami who told me, was very friendly with him, asked him, well, Maharaj, you are always telling Aham Brahmasmi, but on that day, why did you run away from the hospital? महाराज क्या क्या करना क्या बोलना सब किताब में रखा है, हमारे जीवन में कुछ भी नहीं आया. So many times merely knowing things intellectually, we think we have become Brahmajnanis and Atmajnanis. So Sri Ramakrishna always advised people against this. Too much of intellectualism is not going to help us. A basic knowledge of the Shastras, which will help us in our sadhanas, is very important, very necessary, but not beyond that. Now, the Shastras say that God is inside in our own heart, and we have to realize Him. He is our very essence, our very self. But we are not having any experience. Why we are not having that experience and how we should get it, we have to think a little more, following the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna and also our scriptures. The scriptures say the mind has to be purified first. One simple example from our day-to-day life can clear this point. Suppose there is a kerosene lantern. Inside, the lamp is burning brilliantly, but the glass chimney which is covering it is covered with soot, black soot. That is why most of the light is prevented from coming out. To the extent we clean this glass chimney, to that extent light will percolate and come out. Similarly, even though God is there inside us as the Antaryamin, because the mind is impure with Kama and Kanchana, Sri Ramakrishna puts it, we are not in a position to directly experience that. Atmajnana, aparokshanubhuti, it has not come. Then how to purify the mind? Swamiji says that there are 4 well-known yogas: Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raj Yoga. All these 4 yogas help us to cleanse the mind and realize the Lord. It is necessary to practice these yogas. Even by practicing one of the yogas seriously and sincerely, we can realize God. But if we are able to practice all the 4 yogas in combination, in the right proportion, choosing one yoga as the main, adding the other 3 as subsidiary disciplines, we will be able to realize the Atman or God much better, more easily. So each one of these yogas is cleansing one aspect of our mind. Jnana Yoga cleanses the intellect, Bhakti Yoga the emotion, Karma Yoga the willpower, and Raj Yoga the memory power. So by cleansing the mind through the practice of these 4 yogas, we will be able to realize God very soon, very quickly, before the body falls. There is a very nice parable of Sri Ramakrishna which illustrates this point. There was a temple, a dilapidated temple, just outside a village. The temple was in bad shape, there was no image at all, and there was no worship at all in the temple. One day in the evening, just after sunset, when the ryots, the farmers, were returning from their fields, they heard the noise of the bell, then sound of the conch and so on. They thought probably somebody has renovated the temple and the temple worship has started. All of them went there. But they found the temple was as it was, tadavastha eva. Then they managed to get inside by climbing the wall. They found everywhere it was dirty, and the temple, inside the temple there was no image at all. Padmalochan, they used to call him as Paddo, was a mischievous boy. He was sitting inside the temple where the image had to be, and along with his friends, he was actually making all these sounds and noises. So the village elder, who was in the group of the farmers, he went inside and told Poddo, this is not correct. First of all, the whole place has to be cleaned. The temple has to be renovated. The image has to be re-established. And prana pratishtha has to be done. Then you can make as much noise as you like. So Sri Ramakrishna says, this body, the temple, the shrine, the garbhagriha is our heart. We have to establish the Lord first here. Then we can make as much noise as we can. In other words, those who want to give religious teachings and preachings should first have realization. Shashadhar Tarka Chudamani was a great Pandit of his times. Sri Ramakrishna was eager to see him. And after meeting him, he asked him a simple question. Have you got the license to preach? Now, the Pandit did not understand. Why should I get the license to teach and preach? None of us need it. Then Sri Ramakrishna explained with an example from his own life. There is one tank called Haldarpukur in Kamarpukur, my village where I was born, and people used to come and dirty the banks in the early morning before other people came to take bath. And when people came to take bath, they used to abuse these fellows, but nothing happened. The desecration of the place was not stopped at all. Finally, they gave a complaint to the magistrate. The magistrate put up a board and a policeman. Then all the nuisance stopped. So that is the license. If you have received the license from the Lord, then people will listen to you. Otherwise, they will just forget in no time. So, actually what is wanted is, we have to purify the mind and re-establish the holy lotus feet of the Lord in our minds and hearts. The Kathopanishad says, Navirato duscharitat, nashanto nasamahitaha, nashanta manaso vapi, prajnanena enam apnuyat. Unless one has one has returned from evil deeds, unless one has stopped committing all the evil deeds, unless one has regained peace of mind, he will not be able to realize the Atman. So, we have to practice what the Yoga Sutras tell us as Yama and Niyama, the basic moral and ethical principles, by practicing which we will be purifying our mind. Incidentally, Patanjali also gives us some obstacles to the practice of yoga. 9 obstacles he has mentioned. Vyadhi, physical disease; Sthana, mental laziness; Samshaya, doubts and misgivings; Pramada, carelessness; Alasya, physical laziness; Avirati, absence of vairagya; Bhranti darshana, alabdha bhumikatva, anavasthitatva, the last 3. Imagining something to be spiritual experience, whereas it is not. It is maybe an illusion. That is Bhranti darshana. Alabdha bhumikatva, a man has practiced yogic disciplines, but he has not been able to attain to that particular state which he is expected to get. Sri Ramakrishna illustrates this with a very nice example. There was one farmer. He used to water his field the whole day. Next day when he came and saw, there would not be even a single drop of water, and the plants used to dry up. So he got one experienced farmer and then showed him the whole field and also told him his problem. That farmer went round and there were some bushes here and there. And he showed by taking away one of the bushes, below that there were big potholes, rat holes. He told him all the water is leaking through this That is why the field is not getting the water it needs. So there are potholes and big holes in our personality, the evil samskaras. Unless we recognize them and try to overcome them, our spiritual practice will not help. Then anavasthitatva. With great difficulty, we raise the mind to a particular level, but immediately it comes down. This also Sri Ramakrishna illustrates with another example. In the village, the children of the farmer, they see that there is a hole made by the mongoose near the roof of the house. Though they catch hold of the mongoose, they tie a small piece of brick to its tail. With great difficulty, the mongoose goes up, enters into its hole, immediately it is pulled back by the weight of its tail. So like that, as long as the weight is there of evil samskaras, even though we may attain some sort of yogic experience, we are pulled back. So ultimately it comes to this, that the evil samskaras which have gathered in our minds over several lives have to be recognized, and we have to fight against them, slowly reducing their influence in our life. So by doing that, gradually we will be able to develop greater vairagya. And vairagya will be perfect according to Patanjali if it satisfies this condition. Kalidasa gives this condition in one of his works, Kumara Sambhava. Vikara hetau sati vikriyante yesham na chetamsi tayeva dhiraha. There are objects of temptation very near to us. We are fully free to take them and enjoy them. But if the mind of that yogi has transcended that attachment, it is not at all affected by that temptation, then he is a real yogi. So that is the maximum level of vairagya to which we have to tune our mind in course of time. So Sri Ramakrishna says, in order to develop this attachment, too much of attachment towards work is not good. Many times we start a work, good work, and then we get lost in that, forgetting God Himself. Second defect is fault finding. One of our Swamijis, Swami Shreyasanji, who was a great yogi himself, he used to tell us, thought is a suction and not a projection. Every thought that we think, we take something into our mind. It will get embedded in the depths of our mind. So, fault finding has to be given up, as Holy Mother Sharda Devi gave us this message towards the end of her life. Then, carelessness near tempting objects. When the objects of temptation are near, we have to be extra careful. And finally, bigotry. My religion alone is true, my path alone is true. This has to be avoided completely. Now coming to the actual mode of sadhana for this Kali Yuga, Sri Ramakrishna says, in this Kali Yuga, people are annagata prana. Their whole life is centered in the body, which is a product of food. So, because people are very conscious of their body, the tadatmya with the physical body is so strong, the other three yogas, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Raj Yoga, they will not work. Very difficult to practice. So Naradiya Bhakti Marga, the path of devotion showed by Narada, that is best suitable for this Kali Yuga. So Naradiya Bhakti Marga, along with the teachings that we come across in some of the tantras, we can reshape our mode of sadhana. And here, the most important part of our sadhana in Bhakti Yoga is meditating upon Ishtadevata and repeating the mantra of that Ishtadevata. Bhagavan or Brahman or God is Sakara, Saguna, Nirakara, Nirguna. All right, let it be. As far as I am concerned, because I am still very much attached to my body, I will choose the first one, Sakara Saguna aspect of God. Well, in the Hindu religious tradition, we have a good number of gods and goddesses. Does it mean that we have a multiplicity of gods and that we believe in a multiplicity of gods? No. All these various gods and goddesses are different aspects of one and the same truth called Parabrahman. So once we understand this, there should be no confusion in our mind. It is something like the sugar dolls we distribute on Sankranti day. All the sugar dolls are different in shape, size, color, but all of them give the same sweet taste when you eat. So whichever is the deity of your upasana, when you reach the final stage of realization, what you get is Brahmananda, nothing else. None other than that. So, among these various gods and goddesses, you have to choose one particular aspect which is called as Ishta Devata. You like it, it suits you, you choose it. I still remember once one devotee wanted to take Mantra Diksha from revered Yati Swanji. He came there. Swamiji was interviewing him. He told him, which is your Ishta Devata? And he said, well, Swamiji, all gods and goddesses appear equal to me, what can I do? Then Maharaj told him, you do one thing. You sit quietly in your house, closing your eyes, think of these gods and goddesses one by one. Vishnu, come, 2 minutes, go. Then Shiva will come, Devi will come, Ganapati will come. When you are trying to concentrate on these various aspects of gods and goddesses, one particular deity will come back to your mind repeatedly. That is your Ishta Devata. Then he said, suppose I am not able to get that. He said, leave it to the Guru. He will take care of it. Highly evolved Gurus are able to know, just by seeing the face of the disciples, their Ishta Devata. Holy Mother, Guru Maharaj, Swamiji, Brahmananji, they all had that power. I have heard one story from one of our senior Swamijis. Once a young man, hardly 16 or 18 years old, used to come to Udbodhan house. He was very close to Sharadananji. Sharadanji knew that he was worshipping a particular aspect of the Divine Mother. Then, one day the initiation was arranged. He took Mantra Diksha from the Holy Mother. When he came back, Maharaj asked him, which is the mantra that Mother gave you? Mother gave me this mantra. Then immediately Sharadanji said, but this is not the mantra for that aspect of the Divine Mother. How could she give it? Mother heard it and then she shouted, it seems, what does Sharat know about the mantras? Then Sharat Maharaj went up, did Sashtang Pranam, asked for forgiveness. But his doubt had not gone. For 3 days he searched the tantric books. Then he found out that for particular disciples, this particular mantra will suit better. It was there in the tantras. And Thakur had given that mantra to Mother. Mother had given it to that boy. So they will be able to find out the gurus, qualified gurus, Ishta Devata, and also the mantra that is suitable to them. Then this japa has to be done. The nama mantra that is received from the Guru, especially with the bijakshara, seed letter, has to be received with great faith and repeated constantly and continuously as much as one can. That power which is inside that, like the tree inside a seed, will gradually get evolved by repeated japa. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, we can catch the Lord through the Nama japa itself. Nam o Nami ak, he used to say. Nama and Nami are identical. So through Nama you can catch the Nami. He himself gives an example. The boys are flying the kites in the sky. Suppose this kite is flying 500 feet above, it doesn't matter. As long as he got the thread in his hand, he can pull it back towards himself. So Nama is the thread by which we can pull the Lord towards us. So Nama Japa in the Bhakti Marga, especially the Naradiya Bhakti Marga, is very, very important and a very efficacious sadhana according to our tradition started by Sri Ramakrishna himself. Then there are other aids to sadhana along with the meditation upon the Ishta Devata and repetition of the divine name. We can somehow or the other associate the Lord with every aspect of our day-to-day life's work. Loke api Bhagavad Guna Shravana Kirtanat. This is what the Narada Bhakti Sutras say. Sri Ramakrishna gives an example. The lady is pounding the rice, but she is also talking to the people, doing some business, and simultaneously suckling the baby. All these things she is doing, but her mind is always on the pestle, lest the pestle should come and injure her hands. So like that, Sri Ramakrishna says, keep one part of the mind always in God, and with the rest of the other part of the mind, you try to perform your duties. He also gives another example. Little boys catch hold of a pillar and go around it. As long as their hands are catching the pillar, they are safe. The moment they leave the hand, they will fall down and get injured. So, make God the pillar of your life. Then another aspect of sadhana, which is very useful about God realization, for God realization, is satsanga. Bhagavatam is full of praise for satsanga. Santaha sangasya bheshajam sadhunam darshanam punyam tirtha bhuta hi sadhavaha kalena phalate tirtham sadhyas sadhu samagamaha. Sadhu samagama, meeting the holy people, can give its result immediately. In their company, the mind automatically gets purified. Then Sri Ramakrishna was also fond of and also advised people doing bhajan, sankirtanas. Kirtana is individual singing, sankirtana is sambhuya kirtanam, group singing. Group singing is very effective, provided of course it is musically bearable. Sri Ramakrishna's samadhi used to be disturbed if anybody who is singing the bhajans made any mistake. Raga, tala, shruti, his samadhi would be disturbed. Finally, we are all interested in a shortcut. It is very difficult for us to do all these things. Is there no shortcut? Sri Ramakrishna says there is. And he calls that shortcut as Vyakulata. And he gives a very nice example. The child is playing with the toys in the front veranda. The mother is cooking in the kitchen. The mother's mind is on the child. Every now and then she comes and sees, my child is happy with the toys, all right, let him be, and goes back. After 15 minutes or 20 minutes, the child gets fed up with the toys, throws it away, and then starts crying, Amma. Immediately, Sri Ramakrishna says, the mother is about to keep the pot on the oven, she drops it and comes away and takes the child. So like that, if you are able to call the Lord with that intensity as the child did, the Divine Mother will come. I just close this talk with one experience of mine. One of our Swamijis is no more. One day he told me, I am not interested in realizing Sri Ramakrishna. Let Sri Ramakrishna realize me. I was shocked. What is this you are telling? Yes, let Sri Ramakrishna know that there is a poor fellow here. He is he is trying to think of him as much as possible. He has not succeeded. Let him get pity upon me and come to me. Well, that is Vyakulata. So if Vyakulata is there, it is possible to pull the Lord towards us. Our Puranas have got hundreds of stories where people have prayed to the Lord with great intensity, giving up every other aspect of support in life. So that ultimately is the main important sadhana, Vyakulata. But Vyakulata will not come so easily unless we have practiced all the aspects of the discipline given to us by the Bhakti scriptures. On this sacred day, when we are celebrating the 175th birth anniversary of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, let us remember these few teachings that he has given to every sadhaka. He has practically made spiritual life comparatively very easy. Just by taking the name of the Lord, repeating it with feeling in our heart, we will be able to pull the Lord towards us. And as he himself says, the grace of God is always flowing, only you have to put up the sails. So putting up the sails means at least a little self-effort should be there. Once we start it from our side, the response will come from that side. In another place he says, you walk towards God one step, he will be walking towards you 10 steps, 100 steps. Let us believe 100% in these sayings of the Lord Sri Ramakrishna. Try to do whatever we can in our life, but ultimately we should know that it is not our sadhana that brings the Lord to us, it is only the Lord's grace. Kripa, kripa, kripa. That's the only thing, and let us pray to the Lord for that kripa. If that kripa comes to us, then we are blessed. Before the body falls, let us be able to touch the feet of God through His own grace. May God bless us and protect us.